Right, hello class, hello, my name is Mr. Pimp Pustule and I'll be your substitute teacher for the afternoon. Now please all open your textbook to the page with a large offensive drawing of vaginas on it. Yes, hideous ginger kid at the back with the overbite big enough to bite the head off a ferret.
The name's Gregory, sir.
I didn't ask you your name, foul and somewhat bulbous-headed child. You put your hand up. Ergo, I thought you had something resembling a question for me. But if you just wanted to go on and on about some rancid name that your lobotomized parents decided to bestow upon you, like it's anything important or has anything to do with the vaginas at hand, then I am sorry, but I have no time for you, and I must press on. So, are you all at the vaginas?
I did have a question, sir.
I'm done with you, Geoffrey. Another peep out of you, and I will come over there and shave you. Yes, small, impish-looking whelk of a boy in the front row with the hideous spectacles, crossed eyes, and what appears to be an excessive amount of egg yolk on your sweater.
The names?
I don't care. Ask me a question, or I will insert this border razor into your nostril with the help of a polo mallet.
Well, which textbook is it, sir, and what's a vagina?
Your German textbook, of course, you pungent runt. What other book would have an excessive amount of vaginas in it? And what on earth do you mean, what's a vagina?
Well, I'm only 6.
What has that got to do with it? Mozart composed his first classic piece of music at 5, and I'm pretty sure it was entirely about vaginas.
Was he German then, sir?
Austrian, which, let's be fair, is basically Germany. Might as well be, the amount they go on about vaginas.
Are you German then, sir?
I am most certainly not. I am British. Why on earth would you ask?
Well, you haven't stopped saying vagina since we started the class.
Oh, good point. Wait right here, will you?
A little while later, across town...
Hello.
Hello, sir, and how can we help? Here at the National Registry.
Well, I need to know my family's heritage, and quickly.
Well, I'll need your name, date of birth, and for you to lick this marble effigy of Julie Andrews.
Why?
If you have to ask that, I would severely doubt that you were British.
All right, the name is Erik Pustule, born January 2nd, 1968. And now I lick this thing?
Well, of course.
Right.
Okay, sir, I've entered the details into the computer. Let's just see. And I can see that your relatives come from a small village in the Bavarian Alps.
Well, blow me down with a stiff wire brush covered in treacle. I am German.
Do you find yourself saying the word vagina a lot?
Recently I have, yes.
Should have been your first clue, stupid crowd.
Oh, that was a real knee slapper. So that was the first act of Norman Pufflecock's play, Vagina, in 3 parts, glazed liberally in Mandarin squash. And now it's time on Radio Flange Goblet for the film review audio programme that has its eyes on the prize, its head in the clouds, and a large gerbil named Terence up its bottom. It cooks a mean omelette, whisks a mean pigeon, and grows a damn fine moustache. It's ranked 1st in length, 4th in height, and 2nd in girth. It's rotund, protruding, and answers the name of Naughty Nora, the Orifice Explorer, on weekends and every alternating Tuesday. Yes, you guessed it. It's the After Movie Diner.
Right. Are we ready?
No, not yet.
Okay. Stop it, Mr. Squeaky Shoes.
It's Star Wars.
It's great. You've got squeaky shoes on a squeaky chair.
Listen, we're using all of your stuff. This is your chair.
They're not my shoes.
They're not your shoes. It's true, but
Right.
I don't think the shoes are squeaky at all.
Well, they were making some kind of noise earlier. Maybe it's
That was
the chair.
that was the flute. Did it sound like this?
No.
Because that wasn't my
It didn't
shoes.
sound like that, no. Okay, should we get going?
Oh,
on
you know
this?
what it was? It was I was using my feet on your squeaky chair.
Right, that was what it was?
Yeah.
Nice.
So why don't you get a new chair?
Yeah, well, it was a new chair. It is a new chair.
It's a nice chair.
I know,
I'm just saying.
Squeaks,
So?
right? Okay, hand the flute to me.
It makes me feel comfortable.
It does?
Mm-hmm.
It makes you feel like a witch, right?
Yes, like one of the witches.
In Witch's Brew.
That's right.
I don't want to give it away so early in the show. I
don't think that was a major plot twist. We heard the flute before we even saw her.
True. Okay, so
Spoiler alert.
are you ready?
One of the witches
have a flute.
has a flute.
Has a flute. Are you ready to start, though, sir?
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, excellent. So hello and welcome back to another episode of the After Movie Diner. And this week we've been, beaten by Baltimore. Initially by some of the intentional and, in some cases, gleeful, horrific imagery in the movies that we watched. But also, and sadly, as two New York Yankee fans, by the Baltimore Orioles this afternoon.
Yeah. They disemboweled us. And,
Yes. They chopped our arms and legs off. They stabbed things in our eyes.
Yeah, they beat us to death with our own feet.
Yes. So we've had a day literally by being assaulted, being overloaded, bombarded by Baltimore. Mm-hmm. There we go. That's what we've had.
That's great. Bamboozled.
And we spent a lot of time in bloody Baltimore bathrooms as well.
That's right.
Especially the first two.
Literally and figuratively.
Yes. In fact, every movie featured a bathroom. And it's quite interesting that when you go to Hollywood movies, no one ever takes a crap. No one ever goes into a bathroom. You never see it. But in indie movies and little horror movies...
It's mostly just Baltimore. They spend a lot of time in the bathroom.
They spend an excessive amount of time in restrooms and bathrooms and things like that.
All that crab stuff.
It's crab, Baltimore crab. Is Baltimore known for its crab?
Yes.
Okay.
You didn't know that?
Maryland crab, of course. I know that.
Okay.
I'm asking you so that you can tell the listeners.
Oh.
I'm like a facilitator.
You're tossing me softballs?
I'm facilitating you telling stories
was that a thing?
Yeah. Well, because in the UK
there?
they might not know about the Maryland crab industry.
I always forget about the big...
the big listenership we have
across the pond.
Indeed.
As they say.
Because we are a transatlantic podcast, bringing both nations together in a way that our leaders never could.
No. That's nice.
And that also obviously brings up the topic of presidents, which was another film that we watched today.
Yeah, we're getting it all out in the open.
But up front, we've got something to deal with. And I'm not talking about the...
Squeaky chair?
I'm not talking about the squeaky chair, which I really wish you would just sit still in.
I can't. It's a spinny chair. There's nothing I can do.
Ladies and gentlemen, or just gentlemen, let's be fair. No ladies are listening to this. If you hear squeaking, it is because Dr. Consol, who I haven't even introduced yet, I was about to go on and introduce.
Everyone knows already.
Right. But Dr. Consol, who is joining me this evening on the flute for this podcast, it's more like a wooden flute that I picked up in a Native American place in Staten Island, of all places.
The first two notes of Star Wars. Just got getting the third one.
Nice. Excellent. You know, the filmmakers themselves might be listening to this and they might be like, what the fuck did he have this guy on for? But I will establish why. I will establish why. If this is the first of our series of independent film podcasts that we've done, the reason why I have the wonderful Dr. Consol on is because he was the gentleman who brought me in contact with the filmmaking of Dondola, from which every beautiful thing has grown. From our...
Just in the world.
Right, from in the world in general. But also not the rich seam of filmmaking that is prominent in Baltimore, as well as obviously our friends up in New England with the Freaky Farley, Murders, Marriage and Monsters in Manch Vegas, and Don't Let the River Beast Get You.
Words.
Yeah, that's not the right order, right? I get confused with that title. Too many M's in that title. But yes, so from us covering Dondola films, all the good stuff from that wellspring have come, and now we're moving on to some more Baltimore filmmakers, and we have the wonderful Chris LaMartina, which I recently picked up both his films that are available on Amazon, Witch's Brew and President's Day, which was released, I think this week or last Tuesday. I think it actually came out. So that's a really, really recent release. So a week ago, probably, from when you're listening to this. And then we're also covering the film Roulette by Erik Kristopher Myers. And this is one that I was sent by Mr. Myers a long, long time ago when we covered, I forget which Dollar episode was, maybe the second Dollar episode we did. Robert Long, our friend in Baltimore, said to Eric, if you're interested in them covering your film, why don't you get in contact with John on the website, which he did first on our blogger.com website, then again by email. He finally sent me out the film. Initially, the screener was damaged, so that we had to get another screener sent out. Then we got that. And then it was just simply a case of waiting to get the wonderful Dr. Consol away from his piano and into the after-movie diner.
Belly of the beast.
Mm-hmm. So we started off today with the film Roulette, which has long been on our list of films to cover. It was an intense, it was a dark, it was a very serious, very morbid.
What did the one reviewer say? It was simply delightful.
One of the reviewers called it a sheer delight.
A sheer delight.
Will keep you thinking for days on end. That was by Arts a la carte. And the lovely CaptainHowdy.com, he called it a masterpiece.
Choices have led us here. The sooner we all realize that, the sooner we can correct them. We have some new faces here tonight.
My name is Dean Jensen. Will you marry me? I have a disease.
Are your legs okay?
How long has this been going on?
Well, long enough and gradually enough that I didn't notice until other people noticed for me.
Right now, we're looking at any number of possibilities. But any long-term illness takes time to isolate before its symptoms are clear.
What is this? What's wrong with you?
The doctor said what? How is that even possible?
My name is Richie Kessler.
We need to talk, Richard.
You're never home.
Because I'm at work.
Or out drinking with your slimeball friend.
Richard, I think we both know what the problem is. What I view as some very troubling aspects of your behavior.
For Christ's sake, you'll put your ass out on the street. Whatever you're thinking, I swear to you.
Less than smelling.
That's it. I'm not going back. 2 months is enough.
Maybe you're right. Maybe this isn't the kind of help that you need. My name is Sunshine Howard. All life is precious.
You don't know the first thing about life because you've never really lived it.
What's your section?
Religious studies.
Same shelf, different sides. Would you like to get a cup of coffee with me?
It's frowned upon for a girl to date
a guy like me.
A non-Christian.
Yeah, because you wanted to be here. I love you.
I love you too.
You look me in the eyes and you lie to me, just like your mother.
I don't want a whore living under my roof. One was enough.
But in the end, we can't walk away, even if we want to. And sometimes we want to.
A single shot in a 5-round revolver is a 20% chance of discharge. That's a 20% chance of dying or an 80% chance of living. All depends on where you're sitting, I guess. So, you remember in the days to come, what goes around comes around.
Bang.
Of all the independent films we've covered, I've watched a ton that I've been sent and things that I've looked at that have had sort of similar serious vibes, but mostly they have a very, exploitation, B-movie, horror or sci-fi kind of bent to them. That's kind of what is mainly made. And this one is a serious drama about people who are depressed to the point of suicide.
Sure.
And we initially meet them in a group sort of setting where there are lots of people who have attempted suicide, I presume, all talking about their feelings.
Including Yebed.
Including a silent performance, but a performance nonetheless.
Deadly, silent but deadly.
Deadly performance by the wonderful Yebeb from The Fixer. Yeah. And I mentioned the picture as well because Brian St. August crops up in a couple of these movies this afternoon as well. Nice to see him. Nice to see Big St. August back in the Baltimore realm. Yeah, so they're in a group, and the plot very simply revolves around the three of them initially playing Russian roulette for shots of whiskey. Right. So tossing a coin, and if it comes up heads, you take a shot of whiskey. If it comes up tails, you don't. You live to see another day. They finish one bottle of whiskey, and as we're watching this kind of wraparound device, there are lots of flashbacks into the three people's lives, because two guys and and one woman who have escaped from this group and are sat in what appears to be a front room doing this thing. And then it's clear that the main guy who's in a wheelchair, who sort of initially appears to be the most, desperate to kill himself, he introduces a gun and puts one bullet in, and then they start playing Russian roulette for real until it escalates into a rather, eye-opening and staggering finale of violence, basically. Sort of not unexpected violence, let's just say. And I don't want to give away the ending, and I don't want to go too much over the last portion of the film. But I did want to say, I mean, we both thought when it first started out, we are used, as we said, to watching these more sort of light-hearted monster movie, B-movie type things. So it's unusual when you see a drama made, obviously, with at the lower end of the budget spectrum, or whatever you want to call
Especially one that's that serious.
That serious, yeah. So it took a little while, I think, for us both to adjust. But I think what we both recognised straight away was the high quality and the professional standard of filmmaking involved.
Yeah, great shots, great transitions. Kept noticing those.
The transitions were fantastic. Yeah, from the flashbacks to the what seemingly present day. Right. It was very well planned and very well designed how we were going to go back and forth like that. There was never any confusion as to what was going on.
Yeah, I thought the acting was good too.
The acting was very good. I mean, I've seen a couple of indie movies like this that stray more into the serious territory, and I think you made a comment at some point, but I agree completely. They tend to, just by their mere nature, come across more melodramatic in their style than just a plain sort of run-of-the-mill drama. They tend to come across as quite, in good ways. There's a lot of histrionics, there's a lot of over-the-top emotion, everything in these three characters' lives, no matter how standard and or devastating, depending on the spectrum, everything has enormous weight to these characters and enormous seriousness and enormous emotional consequence. And the only thing I noticed straight up front is it was, and it became more apparent as the film went on, it was odd that all these characters were, merely in their mid-20s. Yet the problems they were facing seemed to be, I mean, of course people in their mid-20s could face these problems, but all the problems from, divorce and death and mental illness, and at one point it is revealed, that one of the people has a very, very serious illness that has been given to them. And there seemed to be just a lot, abortion, what else? I mean, this movie really throws everything at you. There was disease, death, abortion, depression, suicide.
Alcoholism.
Right. Yes, desk jockey, 9 to 5, all that kind of stuff.
Well, you've got at least 3 of those, I think.
Yes. No, I personally, in my own life, have at least 3 of those. But I found that if by 25 or whatever he was, the dude working, if just by 25 you are that incensed and upset by your marriage and your job, I would, obviously they were all depressives, obviously they all had some form of probably bipolar or manic depression or whatever. Right. But even so, like if by 25 you're that frantically berserk with, emotional upset over simply like doing a, yeah, I mean, he was passed over by promotion, and his friend said, yeah, but you're like 25, you've got time. He's like, no! And everything was very, You know, there was a lot of drama and a lot
Sure.
of melodrama and a lot of passion to the anger and the upset. The performances were great.
That's what happens to me whenever I hear someone else on your podcast.
Right.
I just get very upset.
When you hear someone else being on the show that angers you, you think, why not me?
Yeah, why aren't I the one talking?
Because trying to get hold of you on a weekly basis would be nigh on impossible.
Very busy.
You're a pianist of some note in New York City.
Yeah, many notes.
Many notes. All 8 of them, in fact.
8 notes. That is a rudimentary keyboard.
That's what I'm saying. That spans the octave. That's what I'm saying.
Of a major scale, yeah.
Right, of course. I'm not including the black notes. So yes,
getting off topic. I'm going to pick up the flute again.
Yeah, pick up the flute again just to pipe us into the next film. But no, it was very well made. It really was very well made, and I completely understood why it's won the awards. It's won, and Erik has won the awards. It's won, and he's a very promising writer director. Definitely.
Yeah, I definitely like to check out something else that he's done, but in the future.
I personally, and I think you would maybe echo these statements, but I wouldn't want to. I personally do not tend to watch films about topics like this. I do not typically enjoy spending, that amount of time with incredibly serious, weighty topics.
Not all the time. Yeah,
it's uncomfortable for me to do so to some extent. I would also say I did find the last sort of 10-15 minutes of the film, it's meant to be difficult to watch. It's meant to be harrowing. It's meant to be, graphic and violent and complex. But it was, it felt a little drawn out and it felt a little, and I've watched a lot of different films and a lot of different, it wasn't so much the graphic way the violence was portrayed, but I still found it very difficult. And not that I shy away from difficult films, it's not what you expect, I guess, from an independent film, which is both a good thing and a bad thing, and I certainly had a very severe reaction to it, which is good. I mean, I suppose as an artist and a filmmaker, you want people to have a reaction to it. You want people to have a... Like the review says, like they want to think about it, and
delightful.
Yeah, I wouldn't call it a sheer delight. Shoot. That's an odd choice of words, because I wouldn't say that much about the film is delightful.
Well, that's not entirely
except
true.
I'm coming out to it.
I'm with you. We're in the same boat here.
You go then, sir. You knocked them dead. Who is in this film?
Well, the performance by George Stover.
Yes.
Mr. Dr. George Stover.
Yes, indeed. Doctor in this movie, definitely. Colonel Dr. George Stover, MD, RF, SSC, Bar,
Sir.
Third, Esquire.
Right.
To have, Don Dola, Baltimore regulars, Leanna Chamish, and George Stover in this film.
Oh, yes.
As well as I've just seen on IMDb, apparently an cameo by Joe Ripple in the bar. Although we didn't spot Joey Rips, it's a shame.
Have to go back.
I have to watch that scene again.
Yep.
We also thought but no, I mean, I want to just quickly mention, like, Leanna Chamish did a fantastic performance. Thought that was really, really good as the abortion doctor, and the George Stover's performance as the therapist. That all three of these. Well. No, he didn't see the girl, did he? He only saw the two guys and their respective
partners. He never saw the girl.
No, but the two main guys in it went to him for different reasons. Because apparently the guy in the wheelchair, who's in the main wraparound story, his illness, the doctors can't find any reason for him to not have use of his legs, and so they think it's psychosomatic and send him to Stover for a counselling session. In what I felt personally was the best scene of the film.
Yeah, well, I thought they both were. Because the first one, you had some great from behind the head shots of Stover. And then there were also a couple of great reaction shots.
Well, his rings. I mean, he had like the rings on his hands and his face was just all portent and importance and urgency and drama. And he really conveyed the whole spectrum.
Well, that's, he nails reaction shots like... I mean, I can't think of anyone I'd rather see react to things of any kind.
I would love to have a George Stover in my life. So as things happen to me, I can go, and your reaction, George? And he can just give me a face. And
Isn't Dory kind of your George Stover?
Dory's kind of like that, the wife. Sure. Yeah, she's like the She's like the George Stover in my life. She kind of sits there observing my lunacy, and then when something happens, I'm like, your reaction, and she goes, "Poof-do," you know, whatever, and then we're on to the next thing. That's
good. That's healthy.
But I could have had Stover in my life. That would have been fantastic. Just sat there next to me. It would have been a shame because he'd never be in any other movies, but I'd get to hang with the guy 24/7. So that'd be great. That would make my life complete.
And then his other scene, the monologue he gives.
Oh, wow.
Oh, very.
Yeah.
Moving, powerful. What was the big line?
The big line was something along the lines of, because he's talking away and he's doing that thing that therapists do where they talk around the topic, waiting for the patient to react. And the dude reacted saying...
So you're saying I'm like this because I'm worried about not being able to make my wife happy?
I didn't actually say anything like that. Why did you?
And the way he did it was great. He just flipped on a dime and went from... But he was kind of menacing, kind of evil and menacing.
No, I thought he was like something was happening with his character.
Yeah, well, there was two threads in the movie. I mean, because, you know, it's not spoiling too much, I don't think. And if so, I'm sorry, I put a spoiler tag in here.
Well, there are spoilers in the town. Spoilers coming up and spoilers going down. There are spoilers in the air and spoilers in the ground. Please bear with us, there are spoilers. Spoilers. But not really.
I don't think it's spoiling too much to say that apart from just being three depressives with attempted suicides, that these three are connected within the story almost from the very beginning, because we see the guy who would end up in the wheelchair propose to his fiancée in a restaurant where we had a bit of a chuckle about it, but they had ordered, the guy in the restaurant said, oh, I've ordered you the creme brulee, when she came back from the bathroom, his very sort of sexually charged fiancée, let's say, who was always going on about having sex with him in graphic ways. But anyway, when they sat down and he had proposed and they kissed and whatever, and then they sat down and the waiter brought the champagne that he'd planned to come out, the waiter bent down into frame and said, don't worry, sir, I will hold off on the creme brulee. And then you see another sequence, which was the two guys drinking at the bar, one of whom was the desk jockey who was all upset with his lot in life and his wife and the fact that she'd miscarried and this other stuff. Mm-hmm. And you saw the same waiter come through to the bar area and say, oh, don't bring out the creme brulee or something like that to the barman. Yeah. So we thought the creme brulee thread, or at least that restaurant thread, would go through the film.
Come back like a David Lynch movie or something.
Right, exactly. Like at the very end, she'd go, and my real name is dun 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 creme brulee. You know.
Creme brulee.
But that didn't happen.
Yeah, the little guy would come out and say it backwards.
Right. Yeah. Roulette, Brew. Yeah, whatever.
And brulee.
But that. Yeah, there wasn't enough midgets in this movie, you're right, talking backwards. That was one of the problems. But no, but that happened to both the guys. And then the counselor thread, we thought, oh, you know, Stover is lit very ominously. Mm-hmm. He's playing it very seriously. Maybe Stover's going to be some sort of, you know, devilish presence in the lives of these people. But it's just the gravitas he brings with it. So that didn't go through. The one sort of character who was out of all of this, and you were like, well, how is she connected? In fact, at one point, the guy in the wheelchair said, why are you here? Like, it's obvious why I'm here. I'm in a wheelchair. And it's obviously why this maniac's here, because he's freaking out every 5 minutes. So it's clear why he's here. Mm-hmm. Why are you not here? Because the woman was sort of very quiet and mysterious in the wraparound sections, mm-hmm. in the front room roulette sections of the movie. And he says, why are you here? And true to that, in the flashbacks and things, her story was separate of these other two guys right up until the end. Right. As I say, we reacted negatively to some of the last portion of the film, and also we don't tend to watch films this serious or this important. But the one thing I can definitely say about it is it's an incredibly well planned film. Yeah. It's not often that you see a screenplay that has clear planning to it and clear structure to it and clear
structured very well.
Yeah. And then has an editing and filmmaking style to match. Because you can structure those screenplays all you like, but if you have this loose, floppy way of filming, it's not going to...
I hate floppy ways.
I meant sloppy, really, but you know what I mean. Like, if you have a sort of relaxed way of shooting, that structure won't come across. Right. But this was obviously a film that had a lot of planning and a lot of preparation and a lot of...
big time, yeah.
Which only served it all the more, you know. Like I say, there was some very graphic sexual language in the movie.
Yeah, it's not one, to watch with the folks.
It's not a
the holidays.
It's not a happy-go-lucky, funny B-movie, indie Baltimore film. It's
not a good date movie, really.
No, but it's clear that Erik Myers has intentions and ability and whatever, and that he is doing something different. With what I like about the Baltimore films that we've seen is that it's not just a bunch of people, especially the ones who cite Don Dolo and Joe Ripple as influences. It's not people just making a bunch of alien invasion movies. You think something like, and I mention it every podcast, but something like a Sam Raimi, right? A lot of his devotees have gone out and made just rip-off Cabin in the Wood type films. Like that's what they've done, slasher movies and or possession movies or whatever. And that's all they've managed to do. Whereas this Baltimore filmmaking, which has obviously like John Waters and Don Dolo at the heart of it, the movies that have come from it are very diverse. You've got everything from very serious dramas to very ridiculous comedies to light-hearted family musical stuff like the Lee Doll films and things like that. And it's really surprising in a great way, the diversity and the variety of filmmaking that's going on there. And obviously things like the web series Malice is like a ghost story, and there's all sorts of interesting stuff there. And I would say that if you are if you're a fan of darker work, if you're a fan of serious work, I think it doesn't have the surreal elements of a Lynch or whatever or a Cronenberg, but it certainly has the seriousness. It certainly has the metaphor, what would you say about it? Anyway, I'm talking all about it. What would you say about it, Dr. Consol?
No, I thought it was really, really well done. Great acting, great shots. The music was really good also, which is always a good thing for me.
Yeah. Well, you especially watch independent films with the eye on the soundtrack.
Eye on the soundtrack. That's cute. That's good.
Yeah.
I thought it was really, really well done. And like I said, I would watch anything this guy did in the future. Never heard of him before, so this is
right.
Good. Has he done other stuff?
I think he may do. Let's have a quick look. Apparently, this is interesting, he was the first critic to screen and review Paul Schrader's Dominion prequel to The Exorcist in 2005 and conducted the first no-holds-bar interview with the director about the details surrounding the shelving and subsequent release of the film. He before this movie, he made a documentary and a short. Since this movie, he's made 2 more films. One is currently in post-production called The Devil's Playthings, and one was called Charity. I apologise that I have no word as to yet how we get hold of those films, but Roulette does have a Facebook page, so look it up on Facebook.
.com?
Facebook.com.
Yeah.
Facebook.com.
That's the website.
Yeah, so look it up on there, and I'm sure it has a website address as well. I'm just looking here to see if it does. So I'm sorry, Erik. Please let us know on the Facebook page when this goes out where people can pick up a copy or where people can see it if they want to. The website, I can tell you, is www.roulettefilm.com. They're on Facebook, and you can also follow them on Twitter at roulette_movie. The film is made by Four Fingered Films. So I would definitely, if you're interested in sort of the darker, more serious tone, like I say, it does go into areas of human nature that are quite surprising and not every day, let's say.
Well, unless you're Phil Rowan.
Unless you're Phil Rowan, and then
just another Saturday.
Just another Saturday killing people and. But yes, like I say, it gave me a reaction. Let's just put it that way. But I could definitely see the talent and the strength of the script and the editing in general. So for that, definitely I would praise it.
Absolutely.
And now some promos.
This is Sean. And this is Daniel.
And this is The Worst Day of Your Life, a weekly podcast covering all things relevant and ridiculous.
We break down the news.
And sometimes we just break down.
So join us each Thursday to find out about the best of the worst that life has to offer.
Log on to www.worstdayofyourlife.com for new and archived episodes.
And follow the links to find us on Facebook and Twitter and iTunes and whatever else.
That's www.worstdayofyourlife.com.
And we hope that tomorrow is better than today.
Hello there, podcast listeners. I am Jason the Angry Ginger.
And I am Jeremy, that McBlizzard.
And we do a podcast called 7 Days a Geek.
Here's a few things we talk about. Movies, TV, comic books, cars, bitcoins, you name it.
Yes.
We talk about it.
We like to say we're a comedy podcast. One of the new things that we've done recently is we did a radio play.
We did.
One of those old-timey shit that your grandpa used to listen to, only this time we do it better with swear words. You can find it on iTunes and Stitcher Radio, and we're also part of the Pod Gods Network.
Or 7daysageek.libsyn.com.
Just in case you're like, what's the name of that podcast again? 7 Days a Geek. Listen to us. Write it down. Ask Suri to set up a reminder. Get a fucking tattoo. Also, if you're thinking about starting your own podcast or know anyone who's interested in it, we're doing a new segment called Podcast 101, where you can learn everything there is to learn about podcasting. Starting in February, listen to 7 Days a Geek. Twice a week.
Twice a week.
Hi there. I'm a Gumbo, and I'm with the Traumatic Cinematic Show. We're a podcast that talks about films. Yeah. We'd like to invite you to come listen to our show. You can find us at traumaticcinematic.com. You can also find us on Twitter at DC Podcast Crew. Also, you should come over and check out our Podomatic page, traumaticcinematic.podomatic.com. We're also on Facebook, so you can come on out there and find us too. I'm on the internet.
And with that, we're going to go on to two films that are by the very young, I don't know how old he is, but I mean, like you said...
he appears to be 17 years old.
Yeah, he appears to be about 12 in the making of For Witch's Brew. But we watched two films, and we watched Witch's Brew first. Although, of course, because President's Day has just been released, I stupidly thought that President's Day came out after Witch's Brew. But Witch's Brew got released...
The old Abbey Road fallacy.
Yes, indeed. Well done, sir. Well done.
I know what I'm talking about.
Look at that.
I know
right
a couple
there.
of things.
I understand.
It's mostly about baseball, but I know it.
You knew a thing about it. But actually, President's Day was shot before Witch's Brew, but only just released, maybe off the back of Witch's Brew being successful. I don't know that for a fact. But filmmaker Chris LaMartina and his producing partner and writing partner, Jimmy George, made these two films. We're going to start then... we'll go chronologically, as with how they were made.
Terrific.
Although that's not the way we watch them. And we'll talk about President's Day.
Welcome to Lincoln High School, where the children are well behaved. The teachers are extra friendly. And the student council elections
Here's Chelsea.
are a matter of life and death.
A shocking end to a horror too terrible to describe.
I see him. Ghost of Abraham Lincoln.
Christian and Miss Heath were found murdered last night.
Any leads?
I think it has something to do with the election. They were all involved with it in some way or another.
Today, I want to talk to you about voting for me for student body president. Dad?
I appreciate everything you've done so far, but I need you to stop. It's just too dangerous.
Ow!
What, did you think you were going to find the killer?
He found me.
You expect me to believe that someone is killing students because of a high school election?
President's Day.
She's got to be dead. That's too bad. She was a nice girl.
Hail to the chief, or he'll hack you to pieces.
Do you want to set up the plot, sir?
Oh, okay. Let's see. Well, it's set at a high school, and it's the student council elections are coming up for class president.
Mm-hmm. Talk us through that. What is that? Like, you have more teaching about government in high school in this country than I think we do. So just quickly, what is that?
What is student council?
Yeah.
Well, the students run for various offices, and then they get elected, and then do certain things.
Right.
I don't know.
They organise like prom and yearbook and stuff like that. Is that part of it?
Yeah, fundraising.
And stuff. Yeah, well, we don't have it. I mean, honestly, we don't have unless there are some state schools out
They
there.
also pass laws and are able to
ban people,
prevent people from getting married. Or,
right. Okay. Yeah. Okay. That's nice. That's very topical. Look at that right there. Prevent gays marrying. Yeah.
Right. And the immigration reform.
Immigration stuff comes up. Guns and things.
Yeah.
Well, especially in this high school, right?
Yeah, good. With the axe control, more like it.
Yes, indeed.
Or
less axes, or less automatic axes. Anyway, I think you should have to have a.
Yeah, well, I mean, what's the point of having an axe like that?
Right. To have a mental.
I don't mind hunting with axes. I do it all the time.
Right, but you don't need an axe that can chop people up, repeatedly. You just need a one quick.
I think we've gone about as far as.
Yes, with that.
It's good.
That metaphor. Anyway, sorry, interrupted you. What is the plot of the film?
Well, I mean, that's then the. Well, does it start with the? What's the first scene? It starts with a murder, right?
It starts with the murder of the young high school couple. The woman is about to have sex with the guy, but then she says, "Me first." He goes down between her legs.
I don't know what he was doing.
No idea. Looking for truffles. No idea.
Looking for truffles.
No idea. I'm not.
Is that like a British thing?
No, but that's
nosing for truffles.
That's what pigs do.
Yeah, I know what that's.
So anyway, I would imagine the metaphor would make sense to you.
No, it does.
But anyway, they're about to have sex.
Gross.
And up comes a gentleman dressed as Abraham Lincoln, although like a sort of wrinkly-faced devil Abraham Lincoln.
That was really my biggest problem with the movie, is that it was only Lincoln. If you're going to call it President's Day, let's get some other presidents in there.
Right.
So I take strong issue with that.
Right.
But not really.
But it was President's Day as in the day of the president, rather than, because it's got an apostrophe S, rather than presidents plural and their day.
Yeah, okay.
So logically,
but President's Day is a thing here in the United States.
Understood, but the name of the movie has an apostrophe in it.
Right.
Meaning the day of a president rather than President's Day.
I don't know. Look it up.
President's Day would have the apostrophe after the S, not before the S.
I wonder if that's the case.
Okay, I will look it up right now.
I could have done with more presidents. That's
right.
All.
And you are right. Apparently, the national holiday is
it's to celebrate
President's Day. So it's the day of the president. It's not to celebrate all presidents.
Look, this is not important. All I'm saying is it would have been funny if like Chester A. Arthur showed up.
Sure. What are your other?
It's tough on that kind of budget to get that many masks, though.
Except that then you would have had to have found out more than just who was the killer, unless you're saying you're one killer dressed up as lots of.
No, that's what I'm saying. He just puts on different.
But the high school was the Lincoln High School.
No,
the sports team, the Lincoln Lambs.
Yeah. No, that's
lambs to the slaughter. You see.
No, that's good.
Yeah, it was very good, right? But that's why it's Lincoln. I mean, get over the fact that there wasn't like.
No, listen. It's fine.
George Washington wasn't popping up and
Washington would have been good. John Quincy Adams.
Quincy Adams, always a favorite.
Benjamin Harrison. Zachary Taylor.
Yes.
All could have been good.
Yes.
Franklin Pierce.
Nice. Look at you rocking some obscure presidents.
Well, I know, everyone knows presidents. I mean, not you.
I
know kings.
I don't know that many kings.
You know all the kings, don't you?
I don't know all the kings.
Henry.
I can say Henry. I know Henry VIII. I know Richard III. But
Jumbo.
mainly ones that Shakespeare wrote about. I know Shakespeare more than I know. So we're at the Lincoln High School, and someone dressed as Lincoln are killing people during the class president.
Right. And all of the deaths are generally candidates, or they are related to the student council.
Or people who are standing in the way of the student council,
yes.
As in when too many people get bumped off, the principal of the high school says, no more class president's race, and then he gets bumped off.
Well, don't give it away. I mean, We can't go into that.
No, okay. But he does play the bass like a mean...
That was an interesting touch.
Yes. I would like to... I mean, I'd like to speak to Chris and ask him just what the theory was behind the bass playing principle.
Inside joke or something, but...
I mean, it was fantastic.
Oh, no, I'm on board, trust me.
Sure. You love things like that.
Yeah. Bass player in positions of power. Yeah,
yes.
That's great.
Although I would suggest any of the bass players we know.
Yeah, that does not work out.
No.
So another.
I mean, Ben more than Phil, but even so, I still wouldn't necessarily. Ben would probably issue.
Yeah, Ben could be in charge of music, but I wouldn't put him in charge of.
He could be in charge of velveteen jackets. He could be
velveteen jackets,
handing out velvet jackets to people. He wears velvet jackets. Anyway, never mind. On some of the gigs we've been to,
oh
Ben
yeah, he did have that one velveteen jacket.
He's worn a couple.
He has. I don't think he has multiple velvet jackets.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
Getting back to Queen Elizabeth.
Yes. But anyway, the high school. I first came across Chris LaMartina from the interview I did with Leanna Chamish, and she had mentioned these Lost Trailer Park shorts that he does that are trailers for films that don't exist, but they're kind of very comic puns, normally of horror movie titles or things like that. And she was in one.
The librarian one, right?
The librarian one.
Yeah, that was good. I saw that.
The names of them are, there's March Madness, President's Day 2, The Evisceration Proclamation, which I like quite a bit, Fangsgiving, Lie Buried, Bite the Dust, Zombies, as in like bees who are zombies, Frankendiner, Psycho de Mayo, which I like, and Shriek of the Easter Beast. So I first saw all of them on YouTube off the back of doing the interview with Leanna. And then when I saw President's Day coming up for pre-order on Amazon, I had heard about that just from doing research on Facebook and things like that. So I went on to Amazon to pick that up, and Amazon said, hey, what about Witch's Brew? And I was like, oh yeah, Witch's Brew. I remember seeing a trailer for that as well on Chris's YouTube page. So I picked them both up and got them delivered last week. I have to say, I mean, both fantastically made. I mean, we'll get on to Witch's Brew next, but I mean, President's Day, you know, fantastically edited, fantastically acted, fantastically shot. It got a great sense of humor to it. You can't say it's scary at any point. I mean, it might be for someone who's not seen a lot of slashers, but it's not really made to be scary.
Or children who are afraid of Abraham Lincoln.
Sure. Is that a thing?
Sure, yeah.
Lincolnitis or...
Yeah, Lincolnitis.
Or what's if you're...
Phobia?
Yeah, that's it, yeah. Lincoln phobia.
Yeah.
President phobia.
Emanciphobia.
Emanciphobia? Is that fear of the Emancipation Proclamation? Is that what that is?
No, just emancipation in general.
Just in general, just the emancipation of anyone.
This is a solid joke segment we got going on.
But, no, I mean, I was impressed by it. Well, what did you think?
Yeah, I thought it was awesome. I really, really liked it. Stover, of course.
Stover's in it again.
You barely even have to talk about it at this point.
No.
Just like, you just say he's in it, and that's it.
But a terrific role for Stover.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's a perfect role for him.
Throughout the movie. That's what I'm going to say. Throughout the movie, George Stover is fantastic.
Yeah, right off the bat with the old bow tie and the dog.
Oh, you can't beat that. Stove's in a bow tie then
in front of historical landmarks.
I want that slideshow. I want it just so that when I feel a little low, I can just put it on.
You kind of want to be the dog, don't you? You want
I want Stoves to cuddle me in front of the Lincoln Memorial.
And tell you what it's about.
Sure.
The history of the Washington Monument.
Tell me all about the reflecting pools. But the kids were great too. I mean, fantastically played.
Well, a couple of them were in both movies that we saw.
Sure. President's Day, not so cameo heavy. Witch's Brew, almost all of the cast we recognised either from Roulette or from other Baltimore movies. Because in Witch's Brew, you know, Branson August shows up, and John Ripple shows up, and the guy from Roulette, the main dude. Two guys from Roulette, we think. But at least definitely one showed up. And then obviously a lot of repeated cast from President's Day. But I mean, in President's Day, we're meeting the main guys for the first time, and they were great across the board. I mean, the leading dude is Benny Mac McCoy IV. Which is
like that. Four words in your name.
That is fantastic. That name right there. I mean, not only that, there are therefore three other people on the planet who have existed called Benny Mac McCoy, which is great. You've got Lizzie Denning, who was very recognizable to me, but has not been in a lot of other things. So, but to me, I mean, she really reminded me of a couple of people I'd seen in other films, and also someone I knew at university. So yeah, it was very odd watching her, but a great performance. Why are you laughing?
So yeah, it was odd watching her.
Because I recognized her, but so for the whole movie I was like, where do I know her from? Where do I know her from? And it turns out simply because of her slightly looking like someone I knew slightly at university. But anyway, Nicolette LaFay, who played Chelsea,
she was back in.
She comes back in Witch's Brew.
Yeah.
She was great. She had a kind of Amy Poehler look about her, but played the, high school,
the popular girl.
The popular but kind of stuck up, kind of toffee-nosed, privileged kind of. That's a British expression, meaning like the aristocracy or whatever.
Of course, toffee-nosed.
She was great. Ryan Thomas, Officer Kennedy, he's like the security dude at the school. Great. I thought. A really strong actor. He's really strong actor. Thought he was fantastic. Stover, of course, we mentioned. Sean Phillips as Dennis. He was the big dude, I think. He was in.
He was in Witch's Brew too.
He was in this as the mascot.
You know who was great? The standout dude of the day.
Yeah.
Was the janitor.
Oh.
Who plays the dad in Witch's Brew.
Sure. He was Lee Armstrong.
Tremendous.
Fantastic guy. Fantastic. Yeah. Two completely different characters.
Yeah.
But him coming up to Stover in the lunch hall and being like, nah, they stuffed their faces.
Mm-hmm. Just put the clip in.
I'll put the clip in.
Look at them. They feed their face. Damn white trash kids. And they come back. Feed their face again. I want to put cyanide in their cheesesteaks.
He was tremendous.
He was great. I mean, phenomenally well polished. And what I said to you like halfway through is like, you can see some indie movies and the performances are great, but also there's an aspect of the quirks in the performance that you're laughing at to some extent or laughing with. Whereas in this, a full-on comedy performance was a full-on intentional comedy performance.
Yeah,
done really, really well.
It was because they wanted it to be funny.
Sure, it was really. The sense of humor of these two movies was just right up our street. Really, really liked it. A different vibe completely to the Freaky Farley guys, who they intended to be funny, but for a different reason. But a similar kind of setup, a similar kind of big cast. Multiple characters, returning faces that you like.
Yeah, the ensemble cast.
The ensemble is the word I was
movies
raping. Yeah, that you have. In fact, that there is a parallel to the whole Alien Factor, Night Beast, the cast coming back playing similar roles or different roles. Again, a different tone to the Dolers, because the Dolers, while they have humour, it's a different humour again. Right. They're dealing with different subjects. But very assured, very well made, great music in this, great soundtrack in this.
President's Day had some great surf rock tunes. I think that was President's Day, or was it Witch's Brew? They're blending together now.
Yeah, they both
nice
had
guitar
some
stuff in there.
Well, what was interesting is that in President's Day, the bass, the kind of slightly ominous, and sometimes ominous, sometimes funky, sometimes surfy bass that went throughout President's Day.
I love the principal's bass playing technique.
Yes, well, he wasn't
waving
his thumb over the fretboard, but yeah. But also I thought that the clear overdubbing of that wasn't such a problem, because the clear overdubbing of the bass playing was done.
No, that's the joke.
Well,
yeah.
It was never like his hands stopped moving and then the bass kept playing. It wasn't like that. It was more like when he was meant to be playing the bass was sounding. When he wasn't meant to be playing, it wasn't. So therefore, it didn't. It was subtle rather than being in your face, the joke that he wasn't playing it very well.
Right. I think that was probably intended.
Yes.
Part of the
charm of it. Yeah. But I have to say, more so Witch's Brew, definitely more so Witch's Brew, but an early Peter Jackson vibe to it as well.
Yeah,
the grotesques in the characters, the shooting style to some extent, the death scenes. There was certainly
I love good creativity in the death scenes.
And terrific creativity.
Humor,
I mean, terrific creativity in the death scenes, and especially when it wasn't just the axe killing, especially when he used the hair straighteners and right. Oh, the janitor in the mop bucket was particularly gruesome, but it had what it had in common with like Bad Taste and Meet the Feebles. And to some extent, Dead Alive or Brain Dead, but it had that like delight in gooiness and gore and over the top sort of horrible things happening, but with a definite underlying sense of humour to them.
Yeah,
which always helps to make a film more palatable with what's going on. Breasts, plenty of breasts in the film.
Always nice to see.
Yeah, I mean, I've never seen a teacher with quite such clearly enhanced mammary glands as that one teacher. But did you ever have a tutor like that in high school who would come around in just
a stripper,
just a raincoat with enormous fake bosoms underneath?
It happened a couple times, but they were my gym teachers.
Right. Okay. Well, that makes more sense.
Have you had any attractive dentists?
Not attractive dentists. Have you seen my teeth? If I had attractive dentists, I would
try not to.
Yes, because they're hideous, my teeth. So I would have gone back to the dentist more had the dentist been attractive as opposed to being a ratchety, abusive old man that I never wanted to spend. I mean, dentists are bad enough, but my dentist was particularly mean.
Particularly ratchety?
He was particularly
Did he use ratchets?
Violent and aggressive with me, so I never wanted to go back.
Oh. I'll hook you up with my dentist.
That'd be good.
They're very good.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Are they welcoming and kind to the bearded persuasion?
Extremely. Yeah.
Good. Okay.
And they're right up the way. They play jazz music.
Right.
Which is kind of actually horrible, but their heart's in the right place.
Oh, they do. Oh, you mean they really do?
No,
I could never tell when you're telling the truth.
No, she knows I'm a jazz pianist, so she puts on a jazz station.
Nice.
And then it's like. Your gums are getting scraped, and it's like
right. Then it's associating something you love with something that is really painful and hurtful and upsetting and traumatic.
And sometimes it's like soul jazz, like the In Crowd, or like just the two of us or something.
Oh, Jesus!
It's like a Tarantino torture movie. Or something.
Yeah, of course, right, exactly.
Like Reservoir Dogs.
That's a film in itself.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. We can't call it The Dentist because Corbin Bernstein already got there before us, but
yeah, and I mean, you can't top that. that's one that they won't remake.
What, The Dentist?
Yes, they can't.
I'm sure that if they remade The Stepfather, they're going to remake The Dentist. It's going to happen. Next will be Dr. Giggles, and they'll be remaking all sorts of films.
Dr. Giggles
from now until the end of time.
Redux.
Yes. Didn't we say all we needed to say with the first Dr. Giggles? No! Dr. Giggles 2.
I think we need to update Dr. Giggles for a new generation.
I think a new generation will really like a new Dr. Giggles. Get the young kids in. That's one thing we can say about President's Day and Witch's Brew, not remakes.
They're not that I know of.
No. But no, I loved President's Day, thought it was very good. So let's go on to Witch's Brew now.
Hi kids, I'm here to talk to you about alcohol. It might seem like fun, but alcohol abuse could lead to some scary stuff. Alcohol can affect your vision, your stomach, your brain. Some drinkers even turn violent. So remember, say no to alcohol. It might just save your life.
Party foul.
Basically, similar plot to the plot of Street Trash, which we covered on the show previously. on the at last the 1987 show, I think, where I covered 3 low-budget horror movies with John Wallace. But Street Trash is the one where like the booze makes bums explode, basically.
It's like The Stuff.
The Stuff or whatever, right? Whereas in this one, where they add this whole witch element, which is really nice, and they add a whole inventiveness, which is very welcome to the ways people die. Like it's not just they all melt, although there is that as well.
Good melting too.
Very good melting. But these 2 young home brewers, which is relevant. I mean, home brewing, especially in like Brooklyn and stuff, is like taken off. Like everyone's home brewing at the moment. But no, it's a big thing right now. So those 2 guys are home brewing and they're delivering their beers around town to various different places. And as they are doing so, one of the guys who's very suspicious gets all panicky about letting a black cat cross in front of the car to the point where he causes the car to swerve and hit the black cat, killing it outright. They then decide the best course of action would be to, as the black cat has a strap round its neck, saying "return here," they think the best thing to do is put it in a brown paper lunch bag, take it round to this house, and hand it to what happens to be the head witch of a coven. Hand it to her.
Yeah, you really want to let them know first before you hand them the bag.
What's in the bag?
With your dead cat in it.
Sure. Or just place it on the ground and say, "I'm very sorry," and maybe point to the bag.
Yeah, or leave it on the doorstep and light it on fire and then run away.
Right. But no, so the witch then puts a curse on the beer. Now, unbeknownst to the couple of guys as well, that the cat is in fact a shape-shifting witch, a blonde buxom witch who has already killed the young boy of the local, one of the local police women. And that means that later on in the movie, when the policewoman is helping the 2 boys, that she has an impetus to believe their story and go in and try and break up the coven. But that's basically it. And throughout the film, I mean, almost everyone in the town dies, almost, in the film.
Pretty much, yeah.
In inventive ways. My favourite of which, I still think, is the werewolf. I thought his transformation and then the subsequent scenes in the bar were terrific.
Yep.
I love the look of him as well. Yeah, the werewolf had a really... I mean, it wasn't a American Werewolf realistic look. It was more of a sort of comic book horrific, again, Peter Jackson werewolf look, but it was great. I really liked that. Was probably my favorite bit, was the bit with the werewolf. But there was lots of scenes that were good.
Yeah, lots of good deaths in that one. There were a couple homages. You had the guy getting attacked by the woods.
Yes.
There was the girl ripping her face off. I like that one. That was well done.
The pretty model who when she went to the bathroom mirror, looked up to the bathroom mirror to find she had become an old, haggard woman.
And then ripped her own face off.
Yeah, pulled her own face off, and then quite a disgusting thing happens after that. That is again goes to the edge of a sort of Meet the Feebles, gross out sort of. Sick idea, which is the sort of perverted photographer comes in and, well, he only sees her from behind. She's sort of bent over the bath, dying, and then does something that is quite, well, for the men in the audience watching, quite leg crossing.
He gets his comeuppance.
Yes, he does. But this was the most, Witch's Brew, which was, we were watching the making of, which was sort of part funded on Kickstarter, plus some other donations and some of their own money. But at the time, Chris was saying that the director, Chris LaMartina, was saying that he got laid off and had a lot of medical bills that he had to cover and so on, and some other stuff. And Witch's Brew took everything that President's Day did right and just stepped it up to an incredible professional level, I thought.
I agree with that.
The cinematography this time is more vibrant. There's more of that. There's more of the different colours in the lighting. There's lots of pinks and greens and yellows and stuff. The night shooting.
The night scenes look fantastic.
look fantastic.
The house.
The house is great. shot fantastically well. So I think definitely they benefited from, because they got a couple of guys in, they said they'd seen a trailer or they'd seen a film or whatever.
I can't believe they filmed it on those little cameras that they were showing in the documentary there.
Yeah, they filmed them on DSLR, which are the digital SLR cameras, which are, fairly recent to the, being within the affordable bracket of being able to purchase and use them at home. But they look like old-style traditional photographer cameras with the big lenses and all the rest of it, by Canon, and they have the ability to shoot high-res 1080p film at 30 frames and all that sort of stuff. So they are, a lot of, I think, independent guys are now using them. They're not something like the Red camera, which is sort of what the professional dudes use and looks more like your traditional video camera. But they are, if Witch's Brew is anything to go by, they look phenomenal.
Great, yeah.
And the film, because as the film goes on, it gets darker and there's dusk and the night shoots or whatever, the image gets even more crisp when there's so much contrast. The last half of the film looks terrific. The first half of the film looks great, but the last half of the film looks really, really, really good, really professional, very well lit, very well staged. You just wouldn't, when you see the director and the producer, no comment on their ages necessarily, but you wouldn't believe they made the film. It's fantastic, from the other people of that age bracket I've met who don't know their arse from their elbow, it's quite incredible that they made the film. Fantastic. Stover as the
coroner.
Yeah.
He delivers those lines with gusto.
No, he was terrific. It was a whole new kind of character for Stoves. Just played it with relish. I loved it. Brian St. August back with his fixer voice.
Yeah, man, this guy.
Well, we didn't mention because he was in. Was it Roulette? He was in.
Yeah, he was. He was the doctor. He was the medical doctor.
Right, he was the medical doctor in Roulette. We didn't mention him, but he was very good in Roulette. But
despite
he was talking,
not having any facial hair.
He had no facial hair, and he was talking with his normal voice. And then in the Fixer, he has a tash and the real gravelly voice. And then in this, he had a full beard and just a slight sort of gravelly voice. He was a veteran.
Maybe that is his real voice, and the voice he was using in Roulette is his acting voice.
Oh, okay. So normally he talks like this, but then in Roulette,
he can also clear it up and just talk.
I just thought I'd talk like this for a minute. Yes.
That's what I like to believe, anyway.
Yes. But it is like the 3 stages of St. August facial hair. He almost had a Tom Griffith thing going on in the sense that Griffith's hair and facial hair changes in the movies. Brian St. August, a man of many hairs.
A man of many hairs.
Yeah, but he was great in his cameo. Joey Rips. Let's talk about Rips.
Oh, man. Another great role.
I could watch Stover and Ripple in anything.
Yeah, you were saying a buddy cop movie would be
a buddy cop movie with Stover and Ripple.
Yeah.
Or detectives, like a Sam Spade Private Eye type thing.
Or like Stover and St. August as the buddy cops, and Joe Ripple is the chief of police who doesn't take any shit from him.
Or how about this? Ripple and St. August as buddy cops.
Now you're talking.
Stover as the villain. Stover as the Hannibal Lecter-esque style.
And there's a dog on the force.
No, and you have in a reverse, you have Leanna Chamish as the no-nonsense head of the police force.
Yeah, that could work too, sure.
You have her like slamming desks and, God damn it, Detective Ripple, or whatever, What have you got to say for yourself, Detective St. August? Get out, that kind of thing. That would be great.
And Dick Dizelle in character as the villain, as Count Gore Vidal.
Gore Duval.
Okay, that's a different thing.
Yes. But no, he's based on Gore Vidal.
I
but
understand.
Stover's the villain. Dick Dizelle has to be like
he's a foot soldier.
He could be a foot soldier of Stover's, or he could be a local newspaper reporter trying to get the scoop.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah. That would be great. That'd be great.
Yeah, that'd be great.
I know.
Listen, make it.
I'm going to write that movie.
Okay.
And I want to hear from George after this podcast whether he would be in it. And all those other people that I just mentioned.
Yep.
And I'm going to come down to Baltimore and make that film. That's going to happen. And I'm going to put you in it.
Yeah?
As a pianist. That's a stretch.
Yeah, can I be like the source? I'm the jazz pianist at the club.
Yeah, and Dick has to come in and get the scoop from you.
Yeah, or like the cops come to me and
sure. You're like the snitch. You're like the local snitch. You know.
I heard on the street. Word is.
Yeah, I heard it. See, in the bar. See. Yeah. Right. I like it. Very good. Oh, okay, so that's another idea we could do that has nothing to do with Witch's Brew. But no, fantastic performances by the cast of Witch's Brew. In the leads, we had Chris McGorian and Gary K. Fletcher, Ryan Thomas, Megan Ripley, Michael Brecker, and the head of the Witches' Coven, the wonderful Helen Mary Ball.
Yeah, great work there.
She was tremendous. The lead two guys I really liked as well. I thought they were great.
The one kid, the main kid, was in President's Day.
Yes,
as one of the candidates.
Yes.
The other guy, what was Preston?
Was that? No, I think he's Gary. Gary K.
No. I mean Preston.
Preston was his character,
but he wasn't in President's Day.
No, he wasn't. But he's a terrific actor.
He's good.
Terrific actor. The whole film very well done. Oh, the other guy who was in President's Day, which is Brew, was the detective in President's Day, very serious character, and there was the owner of the liquor store, who came to the most grisly end. I mean, the real gruesome death was sort of second death in Witch's Brew, and then the other death,
horrific Baltimore bathroom death.
Well, that really did. We saw 2 bloody bathrooms today. Well, 3 bloody bathrooms today in Baltimore movies.
4. There was there
was the girls in President's Day.
Then there was
with the badges, the pins on their face, which was great.
In Witch's Brew.
The model.
Yeah, who's
sure. Okay, but right, and then there was the liquor store owner.
Right.
And then there was the one in Roulette, which
shall not be named.
Well, it shall not be named because it was possibly one of the most gruesome 16 minutes of film I've ever seen.
Was it only 16?
It felt like it went on forever. No, terrific performances from the whole cast.
Absolutely.
Don't like to play this game, but if you had a preference between the two,
well, I would probably go Witch's Brew, but that was the first one I saw.
Sure.
So then President's Day I was just comparing to Witch's Brew.
Right.
But I thought it was maybe a little more polished.
Witch's Brew more polished, more pacey, kept up the pace a little better, I think.
But that's splitting hairs. I thought.
Of course.
I mean, I'm disappointed that because these children who made the movie are only 9 years old.
Right.
There's not another one. That's it. That's all we can watch now.
Right. Well, they're making another one at the moment.
I mean, I want to watch one tomorrow.
Right. I know what you mean.
Yeah.
Well, you have all the trailer park ones that you can find on YouTube.
I've seen one of those.
The Lost Trailer Park. You can look them up on YouTube. Some fantastic work there by Chris and Jimmy. I urge you to go to Amazon and pick up President's Day and Witch's Brew. If you like, if you like any B-movie horrors from the 80s, if you like street trash, if you like bad taste, if you like Meet the Feebles or an Evil Dead 2 or whatever, these movies have got something for you, and they're not just they're not just your average indie movie. They're very polished, very well done, a lot of fun, great soundtracks, and all the rest. I mean, just a definite worthwhile purchase, definite.
Completely agree.
And check them out on Facebook. You can check out the websites they have for the films. And yeah, I mean, we wish them all the best. I can't wait to see their next one, which has completed its Kickstarter campaign, which was to reach $25,000. They actually reached $27,750. And their next film is called The Call Girl of Cthulhu. So look forward to that coming out very soon.
Very nice.
With a George Stover lead.
Oh, boy.
I think. I hope. Well, he did the video for the Kickstarter campaign and said that if they make the movie, that Chris will give him a makeout scene. Because apparently every movie, as Chris said in the making of Witch's Brew, George says, let me choose my part and can I have a makeout scene with a woman? That's what George always asks. And in the third film, old Georgie boy, he might be getting his end away. Be excited about that.
Might be getting his end away?
Well, you know, making out, possibly going further with a lady.
His end away.
You've never heard that expression before? Getting your end away?
Getting your end away.
You never heard that?
So that means getting your extremities...
No. Getting your end away basically means having sex.
But, I mean, the like, your end...
Yes.
Away. So, like, getting your penis off. Is that what you're saying? Is that what that means?
I never examined the saying before, but I imagine the whole... Yes, getting your end away, I imagine that's what it means.
Never heard that before.
It makes sense in my head, but I couldn't explain why it makes sense.
Okay.
Yeah, please make more squeaky, annoying noises on that fucking chair.
Just getting my end away.
Shit, then we're going to live that down now. But yes, that's an expression in Britain, and I can't explain why.
Right, like snouting for truffles.
Yes. But no, all three films very interesting. All three films very professionally made. All three films incredibly well acted. If you, I mean, and I'm honest about it. I'm serious about this, and I know that a lot of the podcasts we do on independent films and stuff, we tend to have like a lighthearted tone. But like,
I'm deadly serious.
I would urge people to check out the Baltimore, you know, the whole East Coast kind of indie filmmaking scene. It's really blowing up. There's lots of great stuff happening, and it's nice to know that there wasn't that like dollar ripple thing and then it just dried up. You know what I mean? It's nice to know that, you know, in the last few years, since sadly Donna's no longer been with us, that not just one, but many filmmakers have taken on the matter. And I'm not saying they're all based on Dola's legacy. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying that for us fans and us viewers, it's especially Baltimore independent filmmaking. It's nice that for us the films didn't dry up, and that other filmmakers have continued on
always more
a variety of paths, producing a variety of entertaining, well shot films.
Yeah, and Dolar was also like the gateway for us into that. Because these people, we did the podcast.
Yeah.
Then these people wrote to you.
Good, friendly people, wonderful people, lovely people. We, you know, speak to cast members. When it was George's birthday recently, said happy birthday to George. You know, it's great. Rob talks to me all the time, keeps me informed as to what's going on with Crawler, stuff like that. In fact, I should plug that. I just did a big interview about the films of Don Dola with Robert Long over at smashotrashindie.filmmaking.com. So that post has been put up on our Facebook page. Please do check out smashotrashindie.filmmaking.com because there is a big interview with me, but about Don Dola films and about Baltimore filmmaking. So definitely take a look at that. What else do we have to plug? I don't think we have anything else to plug.
No. We did it.
We did it. But that was fantastic. We finally got those films covered. I hope the filmmakers appreciate it. We certainly appreciated seeing their films.
Absolutely.
So, can't urge people enough. Go to the YouTube page, go to the Facebook page. I will put all the links up on my blogger when I post this episode. So you'll be able to find it all. But any final words, Dr. Consol? What drives your passion for indie filmmaking?
What drives my passion for indie filmmaking?
What makes you search that out more than regular stuff?
I don't know that I do. I just watch movies that I like.
Sure.
You know. And then, I mean, this thing, the whole, you know, Baltimore Dolar thing, that was just John Kinhart.
Sure.
With the blood, boobs, and beasts.
That's just because you're obsessed with boobs.
Yeah, mostly beasts. I just love beasts.
Beasts more than boobs.
Yeah.
You will watch anything with a beast in it, basically.
Yeah, it doesn't matter what kind of beast.
Well, if it's Cool Girl of Cthulhu, the next one's got a beast in it, because Cthulhu's a beastie.
Yeah, he's the beast to end all beasts.
Right. So, this next one might be...
He's second only to the Night Beast as far as...
Sure, as far as beasts.
Right.
If there was a chart of top 10 beasts.
Best beasts.
Yeah.
In the East.
A best East Baltimore beast.
Yeah.
So, fantastic. All hail Baltimore, and damn you for beating us in the baseball this afternoon.
We got them yesterday, though, and tomorrow's another day.
Sure. So we're one for one at the moment, or whatever it is.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's a long season. You can't get too worked up about one game.
No, I know, but I'm just saying that today of all days, when we sit down to immerse ourselves in Baltimore filmmaking, it'd be nicer to
that's,
New Yorkers to be like, well, at least we won the baseball, fuck you.
That's why that happened, though. You know, we're in their world.
Yeah.
So they have full dominion.
Over us and everything we hold dear.
That's right.
Well, damn them and love them with the same breath.
Wow.
That's what I say.
Yeah, that is what you just said.
And with that, I'd like to say a very big thank you to Dr. Consol, who's
right back at you, sweetie pie.
Who's on his last legs and final fumes because he was up all last night recording stuff for this very podcast.
Not this one, but
the meaning the show, this very show.
Yeah, this very
ongoing train of madness that we're on.
Will it end?
I don't see it ending. I see it pushing through into
even after you're gone, someone else will pick up the mantle.
I like to think that.
Yeah. The next generation.
I like to think that there will be an after movie diner Mark II.
The after movie diner.
Yeah. Or after the after movie diner.
The afterlife movie diner?
Yes. Right. Yes. I don't believe in the afterlife.
Oh no, that's too bad.
If there is such thing, then I hope that I'm in the afterlife movie diner.
That actually does not sound good. If I get to the afterlife and this is what it is, could have done better.
Having a look at my face and talk about B movies. Yeah, you're right. That's pretty shambolically awful.
Yeah, I mean it's fun. I like it now.
Sure.
I just want that to be something grander.
Right. Right.
Tour of the cosmos. Come along.
What if it was this on a perpetual loop for just an hour?
Oh,
what if you just did this for an hour and then it went on a loop?
Look at you, bringing it all back together.
Yeah, well, that's an in-joke for Erik, who made the movie.
Sure.
Yeah, not to give anything away.
Yeah, this would probably actually be worse than that.
You think?
Eventually.
You think? Worse than being with that guy who decided that just to go to work he would slick his hair down and...
That would be worse.
Right, and the weird guy in the wheelchair who was creepy as all hell. And
yeah, that would be worse also.
Right.
What else?
It's got to be worse than hanging out with me.
Yeah, I mean,
not much worse, but
well, that has the initial shock.
Sure.
This would just kind of wear on you after 1,000 years.
But I have to point out, in honor of all things Baltimore, I am wearing my Don Dola T-shirt.
Yes, you are
today. It was very specifically chosen. I went Dola, Stover, and I was like, Stover's in the films. Dola, on the other hand, is the godfather of DIY filmmaking.
It says it right on the shirt, yeah.
It does right there. I just read it off the shirt, actually, upside down and everything, which takes talent. Yeah, I don't know what more to say.
Yeah, I'm wearing a black shirt.
Yeah, Nick is wearing a black shirt.
And
what's interesting is this is the least amount of noise you've made on the chair the whole time, and this might not even be in the show. So.
Well, hopefully not.
Yeah, fantastic. So you've made all this noise throughout the show, and now you're just quietly sat there saying...
No, you know what it is? You moved back. So now I'm more like this way.
Right.
And
you're blaming me now. It's my fault.
I'm just saying, because mostly
I don't think I've moved the chair at all.
You were up here.
Yeah, no, I was
and then
never
I
that
felt
close
awkward
to you.
about sitting like this.
I was never that close to you.
So I've been sitting like this the whole time, and when I'm over here...
This is also the most you've said the whole show.
Because it's over now. So now I'm like, oh, thank God it's over.
Yeah.
I'm happy again.
Yeah.
Now.
Because notoriously, the last time you and I did a show, just you and me, we went on for an hour and a half after the show. None of that ever made the show.
I think I had 12 beers.
Yeah. Well, you didn't want to drink too many in case they were contaminated.
Right. Good. See now
you brought
that one back.
Or cursed.
Well, we got to work in President's Day somehow, so it doesn't feel left out.
My beard is a little like Lincoln's, only ginger.
Yeah, but it's just like how it grows. I mean,
right.
Because you just don't have anything growing up here.
No.
All right, are we done here?
Yeah, we're done. Thank you ever so much for being on the show.
Thanks ever so much for having me.
Anytime, sir.
Oh, great, thanks.
More frequent would be better.
Talk to you later, I agree.
Okay, excellent.
See you tomorrow.
Yeah, we might.
Oh, yeah, you're going to come to go to that movie, yeah.
If you want me to.
No, we'll see.
Okay.
Well, when you've got that certain creative itch you really have to scratch, there is one East Coast town that you just can't match. From the 70s till now and all the years that are in between, one town has given more bizarre variety to the silver screen, where you can keep your artsy, fancy stuff, and I'll show Hollywood the dough. Well, I may love living in New York, but my heart belongs to Baltimore. When you want to film with heart, with humor and with class, when you want to find an actress willing to show her tits and ass,
provided the story
when your
justifies it.
prerequisite for greatness is an appearance by George Stover, or if to ripple the energy Mission Branson almost always win you over. When you've had enough of remakes, sequels, and big budget see-before, well, get on the I-95 and head on down to Baltimore. Well, yes, okay, so Baltimore's not perfect. We all watched Homicide and The Wire, and from the looks of those TV shows, the situation can be dire. But I turn towards the suburbs, and what's all that I see? There's a world of art filmmakers waiting there for me. Normally with practical effects and a glorious in score, where you can keep your Hollywoods. I only want my Baltimore. Well, behind your quiet picket fence, there are vampires by the score. In your local high school, an axe-wielding maniac is just behind the door. Well, the beer you drink for breakfast and might have gutted you by 4. And in your leafy cul-de-sac back garden, you wrestle with an alien who left your soul. Well, you might be in purgatory because an alcoholic killed the one you adore. Or your singing granddaughter solving crimes and the fixer stops bad men break the law. And it might clearly be filmed in someone's basement, but it's got rape spirit at its core. It's just another breezy, shiny, lovely weekend in Baltimore. Yes, it's just another breezy, shiny, lovely weekend in Baltimore. Yes, it's just another breezy, shiny, lovely weekend in Baltimore. Well, it's just another breezy, shiny, lovely weekend in Baltimore. Yes, it's just another breezy, shiny, lovely weekend in Baltimore. Baltimore, 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 yeah.
There are men, and then there are second unit podcast men. The podcast you've just been listening to is part of the Second Unit Podcast Network. Find all of our shows at 2upn.blogspot.com or on Facebook under the Second Unit Podcast Network. Our fantastic list of shows include Drunk on VHS, We Came from the Basement, No Budget Nightmares, The After Movie Diner, Dr. Action and the Kick-Ass Kid, and Bloodbaths and Boomsticks. Take one podcast into the shower. Don't be a blithering idiot, Alan. We can give you the multiple podcast cleansing system all in one place that your hair deserves. Our programming is available across all platforms from iTunes to Podomatic, TalkShoe to Stitcher, so you have absolutely no excuse. Listen today, and a free naked person of your choice will be shipped from Thailand to your door in a matter of weeks. To Second Unit Podcast Network, bringing you the action and leaving the boring stuff to the other guys. Bloody hell. Who does a girl have to blow around here to get a decent beverage?